Welcome everyone to It Tastes Different Gaming Appetizers, and tonight we're going to talk about some super slimy news. Nexus Mods has been sold, and it's not looking good for us. So if you play on PC, there's probably a good chance at one point in time you use Nexus Mods to download a mod for a game. A lot of people have. So it was confirmed that the world's largest modding site has been sold after 24 years. Nexus Mods founder Dark One cited stress and anxiety as the core reasons for wanting to move the site on. It hosts tons of mods. You know, they have a free way to download mods. They also have paid for. Individual contributors can get contributions made to them through the site. You know, buy them coffee, do all kinds of stuff, right? You can contribute to the site. You can contribute to the individual modders. So it's just a big community, modding community that support each other and things like that. And so, at first, the community was not basically told who was purchasing the site. So, you know how the internet is, the sleuths come out and people start digging in, right? And so one user, username as randomly random67 did some digging, initially finding that the new owners could be based in the Netherlands or Scandinavia. Followed these breadcrumbs with help from Chocobalt. lots of usernames in here, not real people names. They ended up deducing that the site had been acquired by a company called Chosen. Chosen's mission statement is partner with founders to help scale what they built and amplifying their impact, supporting their team and culture, and ensuring the business thrives for the long term. Effectively, what this is the company invests in startups focused on user-generated content and tries to make them more profitable. So anytime that somebody like an investment company buys into stuff, they typically they have one of two plans. They either come in to make a quick buck, or they come in for the long haul and gut the companies down. And usually when they come in for the quick buck, a quick cut, they'll come in and they'll just gut everything, bring it down to its bare minimum so they can increase profits, and then make drastic changes such as, right now you can download anything on Nexus Mods you want for free with the slow connection, and then if you want to be able to just bypass all the waiting in line and stuff, you do the fast one that you pay for. You pay a little donation, right? So things like that. So this article kind of goes on to claim, despite claiming it's not corporate, the company's site is littered with corporate speak, telling potential clients that it helps with uncompromised growth by scaling businesses while preserving their vision and value, and that it turns impossible challenges into real opportunities. If that's not corporate speak, I don't know what corporate speak is. So, it said alongside potentially pinpointing the new owners, Reset Era users discovered a monetization cheat sheet for gaming startups created by Victor Folman, founder and CEO of Chosen. This sheet cites digital goods, NFTs, and in-app purchases as top tools for monetization and focuses on average revenue per user, the lifetime value of a user, and the customer acquisition cost. That's how companies track users anyway. Acquisition cost per customer, average revenue per customer, lifetime value of the customer, right? Naturally, alarm bells are ringing around the Nexus Mod community. On the popular subreddit Skyrim Mods, users have been sharing their unhappiness with the potential new owners, which, fear is strong with this, right? Because who knows what they're going to come in and do to this site. You can't do too much because it's a community-driven site. If you make too drastic of a changes, the community is just going to move on to another site, right? I don't think you can completely cut off the free downloads, but what they could do is put ads out the ass on the site to where it's unusable. They could destroy it. But this is still rumors, right? They don't know for sure who are the new owners. It's just, more than likely this company called Chosen. And, this is going to be bad news if if a corporate company gets a hold of Nexus, because Nexus is a really good site. There's a lot of community involvement. Lots of back and forth. I mean, and like I said, and people can be generous on the site because they're not being forced to donate to the site just to download a mod. They can then throw a couple bucks at a mod builder that they like, right? So hopefully this company that bought it doesn't come in and make drastic changes, and then we don't have to learn where to get mods from the new site, because that's what they'll end up doing, is just killing Nexus mods, and everybody will go to some other site, the next runner up. that's not a pain in the butt to use. But yeah, sounds like a lot of corporate jargon and speak around that. Shane, what do you think? I know you're the biggest modder in the group here. He mods everything.
Yeah, I don't want to be charged to make Tifa's boobies bigger. I'm telling you now, I'm going to be pissed. I'm not the biggest modder, but I look at mods, and I've had a few of them. I'm not a tech guy. These are my tech guys. My crap breaks down. Nick, Pat, I did something. That's my tech right there. So as a gamer though, this is where I have issues. And the biggest one is, like Pat said, this is community driven. Gamers for gamers kind of thing. And I'm all about gaming. I love gaming, and I don't want to see anything that comes in and puts any negativity into it in any form or fashion. We talked about, just straight BS that like Sony and Nintendo have been doing and getting worse about over the years. And that's irritating as crap. And here's just another thing and nobody's saying it for sure it is yet, but most likely from what Pat said, its mission statement is straight up business bullshit. Pardon my language, but it's just straight up business bullshit. It's not about the community, which is what the site is now. It's going to end up being about profitability. You get a banner. I just jumped on real quick, and you get some banners going across here and there, and perfectly understandable. I mean, you still have to be able to make some sort of profit to keep these things going. Fully understandable. But if I come in here and I want to install a mod for, let's say, the greatest Final Fantasy, number 8, and I want to put a mod on here for it, I don't want to be told, hey, all right, thank you for doing this, but we're going to charge you $10. But the good news is you get 2,000 downloads, we'll return 5. I don't want any bull crap like that. And if you're going to download something, I don't want to see any kind of a monthly subscription on it. I don't want to see any kind of per download thing, or worse, download limits. You can use this site all you want 3 times a day or 3 downloads a week or some crap like that. Kind of like the free AI sites. When you want to do an image up, you get in there and all right, you hit your limit of 5 or 4. But they all came out like crap, but they limited you. So that's what I don't want to see. I don't want to see things that hurt gamers. That just pisses me off. But to give a little hope, it's not for sure yet, but unfortunately, the way the world goes, Pat's most definitely going to be right. Unfortunately, and I don't like saying Pat's right about shit, but he is most definitely going to be right about this. So, what about you, Nick? I mean, you're Mr. Mod. I mean, you have every giant booby download for every game on PC. I mean, I saw what you did to Gears of War. Ugh.
Yeah. Even the ones without boobs.
I got boobs on butts.
Got boobs on boobs. Yeah, I mean, I think Patrick's right. Like, it depends on what this company does to the site. If they come in and heavily monetize it, the community is going to leave and go somewhere else, right? And then the site's just dead. So you really can't change it up too much. I mean, besides maybe offering like some sort of paid for service, like you still have the slow download option, but you have like a paid for. I mean, I guess they already have that now with the fast download, right? That's a paid for option. So, I mean, they kind of already do that today. So I don't really know how they could increase that, because if you start doing things like putting stuff behind paywalls or kind of like Shane said with the subscription services or various things like that, like Pat said, it's a community driven site, and that community is just going to drive somewhere else, right? They're going to leave that site and go somewhere else. Like no one is, as much as we love Nexus Mods and things is a great site to get mods from, no one's like, we're not strapped down to it. And like, that's the only thing, I've got mods from various other sites and things like that. So there's other sites out there that are going to basically take up the mantle if this new company screws over the community. Then somebody else is going to come in and say, hey, I'll do it. I'll do what Nexus Mod was doing. And then the community is going to go, cool. And they're all going to go over there. And then the new company's going to be like, what happened? Like, well, that's what happened. That's what happens when you try to, just like your slogan says, right? That's what happens. So they've got to be super careful, right? I don't know. I mean, if I were them, I'd probably just keep it going as is, right? But I don't know how profitable it is now, right? I know the guy that was originally running Nexus Mod has been running it for a long time, created it, and has been running it for years. Like, he was just kind of tired of and it was probably getting more expensive, but he was also getting tired of running it and just kind of wanted to move on, that type of thing. He put out this long message that was really thoughtful and things like that. But it was just, and so, I wasn't, and the community wasn't like mad at that individual or anything like that. It's understandable that they just wanted to move on, do other things, right? They've been managing this site for years and they've created a great site and they just kind of want to move on, do other things. So, hey, whatever, more power to you. But like Pat said, whoever ends up owning this, if it is chosen, they better watch what they do, because if the community's not there, if the community doesn't like what they're going to do, the community can go somewhere else. You're not the only mod site on the planet, so people will find somewhere else to go.
People will find a way.
They'll find a way.
Yeah, like I said, there's no hard numbers out there on what Nexus Mod makes in revenue, right? The last thing I'd seen was, they pay modders too. They pay some modders. They paid like $2 million, I think, last year, a little more to modders. So, and they probably have about $2 million in hosting costs or $1 million in hosting costs, I would imagine. Probably $2 million in salaries. So, they're probably earning about $4 to $5 million a year. Hell, I'd take it over and not have to increase revenue and live off of that. I'd probably reinvest $4 million of it back into the company, just keep $1 million salary, Screw it. I don't need a lot. I don't even need that. Just give me,
that's you. These are companies. They want everything.
Yeah.
And the kitchen sink.
All right. Like I'd imagine it gets harder and harder to, like I said, I don't know how thin their margins are. I'm just guessing here. So if they're making $5 million a year, that's good money. And then you can probably, live off of less than $1 million of that and put the other $4 million back into the company. I don't know. Who knows, man? It just sucks that Nexus Mod is being sold. I hope that it's not being sold to the chosen company and that it's maybe going to another individual or something. I don't know. A reputable individual. But I love Nexus Mods. I use it for all of my mods. They have all kinds of cool utilities, all kinds of crap. I use it all the time. And a lot of the articles and mods are written, especially the instructions are written in plain, easy to read. Instructions, before that, you used to use a lot of GitHub, and GitHub's rough if you're not a developer. If you're not a developer and you're trying to download something and compile it from GitHub, sometimes it's not easy. Nexus Mods is really good for the community. And then there's others out there. There's much smaller ones out there. But if they do cut off their free tier, I don't see the site sticking around and being popular anymore, because a lot of people are just on there. I guarantee they probably have way more free people than paying people on the site. So I don't know. Sucks, and it sucks to be in the dark, but we'll see. I don't know. Like Shane was saying, their real main source of revenue is probably ad hits, ad tracking, because usually there's a top banner and a bottom banner on the page. Sometimes there might be a side banner, but for the most part, it's a top and bottom banner.
Yep.
and so you're getting your AdSense, your ad clicks right there. So I don't know. It sucks. I look forward to seeing who picked it up, and then I look forward to seeing if they're still going to be around in a couple of years.
Subscription service, changing the subscription service on this, just
they have a subscription service already.
I know,
right?
but like making it
required
more, a requirement is ridiculous. That'd be like Pornhub charging, a monthly subscription thing just to go to their site. It wouldn't make sense, and I'm using that, as a serious thing, because it wouldn't make sense, because you can go anywhere and somebody else is going to start something just to take everybody you pissed off away from you. Right. And that's going to be all on you. Especially if it started off the way this has. I mean, I can see the subscription services.
I mean, you're number one as far as Nexus mod goes, or maybe like in the case of Pornhub in your example, right? And if you change something up like that, then you're taking all that traffic that's coming to your site and all that activity, and you're moving it somewhere else, right? Because then, like you said, another mod site is going to take the reins, and it's going to take all that traffic that Nexus has, right? So yeah, you can't do stuff like that, because you're just going to kill what you have currently.
Right, yeah. Everybody's going to move over to CurseForge or ModDB or something.
Because again, you're not the only thing out there, right? If you're the only thing out there, then sure, you can do that, right? You can do that all you want, because you're the only option people have. But when you are among the 1,000 options out there, sorry, you can't make drastic changes.
Yeah, that's why you have to be smart and understand when you get something like this, you got to understand the customer base and what they're accustomed to. And I'm not like I said, I'm not a big modder, but I know what they do. I know the passion that I see, because I'm always reading stuff about older games, people modding, making, these really amazing changes that should have been in the original games. But, and I see that, and that's one thing I hate is when corporations decide to profit off of passions.
Yep. And that's what's going to happen, but we'll see. I'm not going to hold my breath. I'm holding out hope, but I'm not holding my breath. So
hold that.
Crossing fingers. Yeah. Cross my fingers. But all right. Well, let us know what you think down in the comments. Or how do you feel about the news about Nexus mods being sold off after 24 years? Do you use Nexus mods? Let us know what you think down in the comments. And if you're not subscribed, you've reached the end of this episode. Why not hit that subscribe button? Help us out. Leave some comments. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. And we hope you enjoyed this episode and hope to catch you in the next one.
See ya.